I want to ask you something. In the moment where you're excited about doing something scary, because we can all get there where the butterflies are going and we're like, oh, this is something I really want to do. And then inevitably, either before we pick up the phone or before we do the thing, lots of seemingly justifiable good excuses why not to, or even sometimes in reality our surrounding, our peers, our the people in our lives can start to seep in with some less than complimentary ideas of their own. What do you do to get yourself from excited idea to actually doing the thing that makes you almost want to pee your pants?
Well, one thing that just came up when you said that is, I was talking to a prospective client yesterday. He might become a client today or not. I don't know yet. But he said something that is something I've been thinking about for a long time, but I hadn't found a way to speak about it. He said his motivation comes in waves. And I was like, that is so much my experience. Mm-hmm. So if I get the impulse for something, like, for example, right now, I've got an idea for a program that I'll be able to say to the program, hey, Charlie, tell me the podcast host that Kerry's connected to, because I've been on her show. She seems to like me. She might refer me. Tell me which shows she's been on, and tell me which podcast hosts have been on her show that would be a fit for me, right? I have that idea. I think it's genius. So I'm going for it. I just know myself that idea might fade away. That motivation might fade away. So the last 4 or 5 weeks, I'm working on it. So one thing I do is when that impulse comes, I harness it. Another example is when I wanted Jack Canfield to come and speak at my event. I've only held one event in my life, and I wanted Jack to come and speak. And I was so nervous to just call up his office and ask to be put through and do it. And I put it off for a couple of weeks. And then one day, it's just like the wave came. The impulse came, and I thought, why don't I just get it over with? He'll say yes or no. And so I called up, heart pounding in my chest, Getty's assistant, was fortunate enough that he happened to be in the office, available. She put me through because he'd known me from something else. I had a relationship. And I said, Jack, would you come and speak? And he goes, oh, so you thinking of hiring me to come and speak? I said, oh, no. I can't afford to pay you. And I made my pitch. And I said, I will orient the event around you and your schedule. If you are ever coming to San Francisco, that will be the date of my event. I'll put you up in a hotel. I'll send you a car. And he's like, well, I do want to go and visit someone there. And it all worked out. But when you get that impulse, that moment, that wave, jump onto it, because you might not get it again for a while.
Oh, it's so powerful. This idea of inspiration or motivation coming in waves. As soon as you spoke the words, I was like, yes, because there are times that the excitement is almost, unbearable. And there are other times the exact same idea is like crushing me with, there's no way I can do that. And so just to know that those are the moments that you have to pounce.
Yes.
Because it's not going to last forever.
And another tip I can give is to break it down, like chunk it a bit. So, for example, something I've been putting off is hiring a social media manager. I just, I didn't want to go through it again, and I've got to look at the next round of testing and give it to people. But what I can convince myself to do is at least read through what I wrote, which is the next round of testing. I can at least do that.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. Maybe I'll be motivated once I've read that. Like, oh yeah, I do want to see how these 3 latest candidates do with that test, or I won't. That's okay. So I'm a big fan of chunking something down. Let's suppose you're not going to call Richard Branson's office because it's too scary. Maybe you'll do a role play with a friend. and you'll agree that, or you'll write out a script, or you'll write a letter, and you won't even mail it yet, but you just do it. I find I can often have conversations with myself and say, well, what would you be willing to do, David? And it might be a step in the right direction. And the amazing thing, Kerry, I find is once you get started, that really seems to be the hardest part.
Yeah.
Once I get started, I might say, all right, David, 25 minutes I'll do on this thing. 6 hours later, I'm having a good time. But it's getting the ball rolling. And obviously I'm biased. I'm a coach. I'm a big fan. 5 months ago, I had 5 coaches. That's a great way to get yourself moving and motivated, is to be talking this out with someone who can hold space for you. It's not a boot camp sergeant that's going to push you to do something that may not be good for you, but someone who's going to ask the right questions and have you work out what's best for you.
Like a beautiful question is, well, what would you be willing to do? Like, how simple is that question? And it still moves you forward in the right direction. I love that.